I'm in the Pere Marquette State Forest. I'm looking for a place to spend the night. All over this area there are little mini depressions. There's one, there's one, there's a large one over there where you see the leaves. Here's another one, here's another one. And what those represent are places where trees have come out by the root. So this is an area in which lots of trees break. You can probably see that one in the distance. And you can see that one here. And we've got a situation right here of a very natural snag in which lots of trees have fallen over. There's quite a bit of that here. You can see another one over here in the background. It looks to me like there are no widowmakers up there, and that these probably broke from the weight of a heavy snow, given how they're snapped off. So this is an area that might be a little bit questionable in high winds or snow for a shelter area. I'm thinking it'll be okay for tonight though. This is a very nice tangle. A couple of ridgepole possibilities. That little pine tree is still alive, so it's going to be strong. So I think I will get to work making this home for the night, and I'll check in with you as I progress. Let's look at the structure. There's a hinge, and there's a similar one on that end. I've reinforced those with lashing there and a little tripod effect here. The ridge line is about a foot higher than I want, but I'm working with what I got. The work's coming along, and I remembered that I forgot to mention something that I look for besides in selecting a site, other than the absence of deadfalls, animal trails, water runways, etc. And that's, I always look for a place gift, a little gift of the site that tells me that the spirit of the place welcomes me and I'm at home and safe and I'm welcome here. Sometimes it's a familiar plant like mullein, sometimes it's a rock, sometimes it can be a lot of things. Here there are a couple of them. There's one right there. That's blueberry. No berries, but it's comforting to know the plant's here. But the one I first noticed that is very definitely a welcome sign is wintergreen. How much more welcome can you get? This is better than a chocolate mint on your pillow at a 5-star hotel. If you crush it up and smell it, you get that wonderful wintergreen smell. And so I will, with permission of the site, take several of these leaves, and I'm going to make myself some tea with them a little later. Okay, back to work. Got some lattice work going here. So good choices, bad choices review. Good choice was using existing structure provided by nature. Not so good choice is this is way too big. So it's taking way more material than a suitably sized shelter would. Good choice, it's oriented so that the way the winds have been blowing last night and today, this will be a wonderful windbreak. Bad choice, it's a little too steep to be a great rain break, so I may have to do something about that. I plan to use the Mylar sheet as a heat reflector, so that'll also give me some rain protection. Right now it doesn't look bad but for rain, but you never know. Back to work. Found another nice little gift here in this spot. This is false Solomon seal. The rhizome is edible, and there's another little plant over here, but there aren't enough of them and they're not big enough for me to want to harvest and eat the rhizome. Well, here it is. It's been about 4 hours of work to get it to this stage. As you can see, it's way too large for a survival shelter and way too porous for a rain shelter. However, it's a wonderful comfort shelter. I've been working on it 4 hours. I'm switching now to laying down some sticks as a foundation for the ground insulation. So I'll check in as I make progress on that. The objective of all those twigs is to have a not very compressible barrier between me and what is very damp ground. Now we'll refine the material. Alright, making progress on the mattress. I wanted to point out a couple things. One is that this tree was already down. I have cut nothing living and growing to make this. And because I was lucky enough to find a down pine, I've got some poles I can use to help hold bedding in. I have needles that are still fresh enough for tea, and I was able to get some good strips of inner bark, maybe I'll get a little more, that I also use in the tea. I like to do inner bark, leaves, and wintergreen together. Okay, except for adding more cover and insulation as I get the time, that's about all I have time for right now. I need to put up the heat reflector and then start turning this into a camp and get a little fire pit dug. It's actually considerably thicker than it probably looks on here, but so that's going to be it for the night. I think it'll be comfortable. There it is. And it's about all I've got time to do. Well, this will be home for tonight. That bag is a light bag. It's rated for down to 50. And I just heard from another camper when I went back to get water that there's a freeze frost advisory out. I must have bad weather juju or something. So I spent the time between getting firewood. I don't have enough to last through the night if it gets real cold, so when I finish my hot chocolate and stuff, I'm just going to let that burn down and keep a few embers going. And I'll see you in the morning. Well, it's a little after 5. Slept all right, although fire almost went out about 4:30, and so I had to get up and build that up. So we'll get that going again, and then start some coffee and breakfast. Barely see the sky lightening. There's a nice sight. Fire to warm up by, and a little bit of coffee brewing. Well, it was a good camp for the night. There was no frost on the ground this morning, but it was cold. I went through all that wood except for a few scraps, and I did not use any of the pine. The pine bough bed worked out well, but it's probably down to about 4 inches now. After I compressed it by lying on it while I was building it, it was about a foot thick, but through the night it compressed. Nevertheless, slept well. Guess it's time to start cleaning up camp, removing all traces, and hitting the trail back. Thanks for coming with me. See you on down the trail. Well, I'll leave the structure for the next traveler. All other traces have been removed.